Welcome to Beyond the Competition, the SAE University Programs Podcast. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Mike Sorg, podcast producer here with SAE University Programs with Scott Schultz,
Hey.
who's not wearing his headphones.
No, I'm too professional and I look cooler like this.
The rebel Scott Schultz here. We are in Key Largo, Florida.
Anyway, I'm Scott. We're here with Damon, Baja program manager.
And clean snow.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget the cold.
You're right.
Anyways, we are here for Contributor of the Year, which is an awesome event. So
Why is it so awesome?
I was going to ask you, what is Contributor of the Year?
My gosh, nothing at SAE doesn't happen without volunteers. So we get the best volunteers. They're nominated, and they get to come here and maybe win an award. But an award in itself is coming here and just having a nice little trip as a thank you for volunteering. Damon, anything to add?
Yeah, I think what these people do for people like me, at least in the program manager role, is key, because without the volunteers and the people in membership, I'm not able to have my events, right? Because we're so volunteer based. So just being able to celebrate these people, I think is a great thing that allows, hopefully them to do more, or for them to get more people involved, because this is a nice little perk that, if you volunteer and go above and beyond, you could end up at a place like Key Largo.
With us.
That's right. That's right. And that's important. I know this gets reiterated, I think, year to year as we do our welcome meetings and things like that. But that these events are 95%, just volunteers, right? It couldn't happen without them. And there's such massive events, between all the Formula, Bajas, Aeros, and everything else. It's really great to see. I've appreciated it. It is my second year doing this, seeing people that I know we have noticed as the media team showing up here and getting recognized, because we didn't know there was something like this,
right,
until a couple years ago on our side. And that's been a pretty cool experience here. This is your first one. This is both of your first one too, right?
Yeah, this was after 1 year of being at SAE, I kind of got thrown to hey, we need you to nominate someone for Cody, and I was like, what's Cody? And I got the big explanation, and I was like, is there too many people? What's the limit of nominating people? Because my first year was so crucial to have the people that wanted to go all out to make sure the programs kept going. So it was very hard for me to decide on who to nominate, because I had so many great people that helped me out.
And that's a big thing. Again, you're the as a director of Baja officially, and obviously there's a lot of volunteers that have been doing this for many years sometimes. Yes. And so and you were, kind of, you always say building the plane while we're flying it a little bit, learning the ropes here as we go, tell me about how a little bit more about how that process was for you, and kind of learning from the people out there.
I think the biggest thing is the community that's built. The people that put these events on from the volunteer side and the organization side they're lifers. They love Baja. They love clean snow. They're going to do whatever it is to get the plane on the ground, right? To get an event started, to getting the, cars across the finish line of endurance. So just seeing that and seeing their passion and dedication as volunteers, not really getting paid to do it, kind of motivated me to be how do I make this as good as possible? Because if I'm watching these people who are not necessarily getting paid to do it, and they're giving these, late hours and long hours, and I'm the one that is getting paid to do it, I have to meet them at that level. Because if I don't, then I'm just like a poser in the Baja world. And they will call you out quickly if you are a poser in the Baja world. So, even my first event in California, I had really no idea. I heard from people what things I should be doing, what things I shouldn't be doing, whatever. And I got to site and they were like, we need someone to go chalk outline the parking lot. And I was like, I know how to chalk outline. And they're like, all right, here you go. And they kind of all looked around, and the first couple days of the event, I'm buzzing around and everyone's pulling me aside, you don't have to do this. You're just SAE. I was like, but I'd rather be fully in than sitting in the sitting on the side and not fully in. And I don't know. I feel like it's helped a lot. I've got a lot of positive feedback, and I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm the type of person I am. So,
and you got thrown in kind of a peculiar way because and I know the same thing when I first came in. They kept telling me what Baja was, and then with most events with SAE, you don't really know until you get there and see what it looks like, we always talk about the vibe, we're talking about that here, where it's like, oh, we don't know what the vibe of like an event like this is until you show up to something like it, right? As much as somebody can tell you, there's just no, there's no way to translate that, right?
Right. So, yeah, it is a very interesting thing. And the crazy part is, it's different every time, right?
Yeah.
Because we're at 3 different locations with 3 different groups of people organizing it. So,
and 3 different, environments and weather patterns,
especially this year. We got them all.
We were collecting them all like Pokemon. It felt like, right?
Yeah. So, I think I still have like dirt and dust in my ear from California.
I would definitely was shaking some off still for this event in November. But we did have a Baja, I guess, a month ago or so.
That's why. Like, I think about that too. It's like I'm already started, for the 2025 season, and like I didn't have a chance to come down from. Like the last event in 24, and I'm just right back in it. So.
Yep, yeah. You're stretched out a little bit more.
It's okay. But
at least they're not all back to back anymore.
Yes, so. It's great. I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do.
Excellent. We are here. Oh, we're getting a little Aero Design here at the moment. We have Michael Berisweill with Aero Design East.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Wonderful, Mike. Good to see you.
How was breakfast?
Delicious.
And Glenn Cashion, the air boss at the Aero Design competitions.
Good to see you, Mike.
We were playing a game that I probably should have done this with everybody we've had on the show, but I think it's going to be mostly fun because you guys have not read what they've written about you in this wonderful program for a Contributor of the Year. Glenn, with Lockheed Martin, Glenn's dedication to the growth and development of students and young professionals is a testament to his exceptional work ethic. Do you want me to keep going?
That's plenty. Thanks. I know about the level this is.
Yeah, let's see what the highlights here. Beyond the logistics, he recognized the importance of fostering a strong sense of community. Thank you, Glenn, for all you do. Everybody has that line. Okay. So, Mike and Rich have demonstrated exceptional dedication and leadership in managing SAE's Aero Design East events from 2023 into 2024. Their commitment reflected in the hundreds of hours that they have invested. Is that an accurate estimate? Okay, there you go.
Just ask my wife.
Ensures the continued success of these significant events held in Lakeland, Florida. So that gives you a good idea there. That's not the entire thing, but I think we've embarrassed you enough, right? So, welcome to Contributor of the Year. And this is the podcast that where, a lot of the Aero Design students are and are going to be listening to and everything. So I guess the first question is, how did you guys get involved with SAE originally?
Well, I got involved as a college competitor for Aero Design in 2003. Mm-hmm. That was my first racing year. I had a follow-up year, senior year, racing again, and have been involved in some capacity ever since. But started with a SAE organizational role in 2012, and a part of it since then.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in the show before, with the Know Before You Goes and stuff. Like you kind of like grew up into the organizer status, right?
That's true. Yeah, started doing technical paper judging, mm-hmm. and moved on up to contest director over the years. I've been doing.
Anything in particular that kept you to keep coming back and work your way up as a volunteer?
Yeah, it keeps me sharp to work with the college students every year. Mm-hmm. Glenn, we're on video.
Sorry, a gnat flew in my eye.
Yeah, I see that. It keeps me sharp to work with the college kids every year.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. What about you, Glenn? How'd you get involved?
Been in RC aircraft since 1968, so I've always enjoyed it. And was in a hobby shop, a local hobby shop, and some students came over and asked me about building an aircraft, and worked from there to being their pilot, and then moved forward to being an adjunct professor, and then got asked to be on the rules committee and graduated into the air boss position.
So obviously we talked about you had involvement in school with everything. So, do you have any advice for like the newly graduated students? Obviously, you guys have been involved. We get to do some cool events like your Contributor of the Year and everything. What's your advice for students about coming back into the either this competition or any others they might be involved in?
Well, I think you get out of it what you put into it, and that really kind of helps you with giving back to your community, your educational community. But it keeps, for me personally, it keeps my energy and enthusiasm for the industry up. It keeps my fundamentals where they need to be, and I find that very helpful to my day-to-day, as well as making sure that the kids are growing and being prepared to enter into the industry.
For me, I just enjoy working with the students. I think it's a fantastic opportunity to give back to something that's given so much to me. I would not have my job at Lockheed if it wasn't for this event and for SAE. So
I wouldn't be married. Met my wife in this.
Well, I'll reserve comment. So I think it's fantastic that we are able to go out and meet with so many international students and look at where they are and knowing where their future is going to be and giving the opportunity. We all take time, and Mike does a really good job of this, taking 3 or 4 students aside and kind of talking about where they can go, what they can do, not just recruiting for Lockheed, but also working toward future goals that they can have in the industry, whether it be here in the United States or internationally. So helping to fuel that fire is really important for us.
Yeah, really kind of you grow kind of both ways, that community, right?
And beyond coming back as volunteers, why should students continue to be SAE members after graduation?
I think from that standpoint, it really helps develop that professional network. Having a solid professional network can be very helpful for finding good mentors and being able to resolve some of the questions that you'll have in your career over time. And having a professional network that extends beyond maybe just your company, just your industry, and beyond can be very helpful.
Well, also being able to come out to an event like this, we're networking with people from all over, meeting the top contributors, but also some of the finest minds around. These folks are really, really smart, and it's awesome to be able to sit down and talk with them about different things, what they're doing is, what your expertise is.
A couple of airplane guys learning about tractors last night at dinner, right?
But there's always that venue to learn and to increase your knowledge level. And SAE has been fantastic for my part, being a member of it, because you're able to go out and meet so many different types of people. Mm-hmm. So it's fantastic network.
Yeah, and just for a little bit of even that, like we've had interviews with people. We're used to talking to you guys that are like kind of hands-on in the industry with CDS competitions. But like I know we were talking like about spray and fuel injection technology with one guy, Lee, I believe it was. We just had one where we're talking about like geometrical design, and drafting kind of situation. Like it's really cool to kind of see those extra technologies that we don't usually end up talking about at an Aero, Baja, etc. Right?
Well, Mike and I were discussing some 3D printed injections, where you're using additives for 3D printing, and being able to share that knowledge across. We're working for the same company now, but I just started working with Lockheed, so we were sharing that information for the past several years. Yeah. And we talked to a fellow from the Autodrive. I was talking with Zach last night, and the technological challenges with the computer and the electromagnetic or electro forces that we're using for that to get their devices to work correctly. So I was talking to Mark last night from the Autodrive. He's a contributor from there, and we were talking about the differences in the computer simulations versus how it actually functions on the track. Sometimes they're just excited when they get a few feet going. Yeah. And but the technological challenges that are there that he's helping represent are incredible.
And Mark is usually the most excited.
Yes,
he's the energy bringer to that competition.
He seemed to be the most gregarious one in the room. Yes, you could see that he would be the one beating the drum and doing the dance.
He's very helpful at the workshops on entire second day.
I believe that. Yes.
Anything else before we wrap up? Because it is 10.
Yeah, I know you guys have a fishing tournament. Are you guys involved in that?
I'm going fishing today.
Of course you are.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a thing to do. You have to go do it.
Excellent. If you're gonna, do you have any fighting words out there before you get out there?
To the fish here, it's all over for them. We know that they're at a loss.
It is a competition.
It's a competition, which means I'm going to win.
Fantastic.
Are they preparing?
For me, they're getting a bigger boat already. They're getting a bigger boat.
For you.
Well, good luck with that. Glad to see you guys here and getting recognized for this, because it's been fun to work with you guys over the years on these competitions on our side of things. So thank you very much.
Thanks
you
for
guys.
joining
us on the pod.
We're happy to be your favorites.
Yeah. Thanks a bunch.
Thanks.
All right, we were here with Alison Bayzat.
Yeah.
Who is involved with the Autodrive Challenge competition.
Yes.
And we were having a fun game with Glenn and Mike before you, where I read a little bit of your embarrass you by reading a little bit of what they wrote about you here in the program.
Oh, no.
So here we go. Alison has demonstrated a remarkable ability to not only mandate safety, but also inspire it within the Autodrive Challenge. Okay. Her unique talent lies in making safety planning and implementation accessible to students, significantly enhancing their experience and success in one of the most challenging aspects of the competition. As a former competitor herself, Bayzat understands these students' perspectives and effectively guides them through this critical area of competitive process. Excuse me. So I guess that leads to my first question.
Yes.
As a former competitor, how did you get involved with SAE?
Yeah, so I got involved with SAE right when I joined GM full time. So I did student competitions. Actually, it wasn't an SAE competition when I was in school. At my university. We had, it was called EcoCar, and you got a Chevy Camaro, and you had to turn it into a hybrid over 4 years. So really similar themes, I think, to, like these different challenges that span over the course of years with the automotive industry. So that really got me hooked into GM and the automotive industry when I was in university. I was a part of it, leading the team as the project manager for 3 years, and I started interning with GM at the time, and then when I graduated and started with GM full-time after school, my team was really involved in Autodrive. And so I started off, small. I was helping score student deliverables and working with the students at workshops and everything. And over time, right before probably Autodrive Challenge 2, I became GM's captain for system safety and technical reports. So there's kind of two aspects for that. We have one side is like the competition heavy system safety, like tech inspections. So making sure that they're ready to compete, they're entering and exiting ADV mode properly, which is probably the biggest challenge before they do dynamic events. And then the other side is teaching students about functional safety, safety of the intended function, and with especially going into autonomous vehicles, that's, a really big focus to make sure that everything's, parts are designed with the integrity that we need to be safe for customers. So something that you don't really learn about in school, or at least in my experience wasn't something that you really learned about in school. And so we spent a lot of time guiding them through deliverables. Over the Autodrive is a 5-year competition. So right now we're in year 4, and we work with the students a lot to teach them about safety and what it really means to the company, to the customers, to everyone, and make sure that they understand, how to develop products that have that integrity.
What school? I don't know that I caught. What school did you go to?
I went to McMaster University, so I'm from Canada originally.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to point out here for people that maybe aren't aware of Autodrive Challenge on this podcast. Like that is it's not just you go the year, build the car, and compete. Like there's a 4-year cycle of, and I love it. I was there the first new year when they don't even have a car yet, and they just put the technology on a cart that gets wheeled around M City, which is like this kind of nice, fun fake town that they built for automotive or Autodrive testing, and just like, can I see a stop sign? And then next year we put it on a car and see if it moves and responds and everything. So I love that step into such a high level technical problem that everybody's trying to solve right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting competition. I think the students learn so many invaluable skills with, so my area is system safety, but they also have like project leadership, they have mobility and innovation, they do both written reports, they do verbal presentations on their content that they've developed, and then they also compete in dynamic events. So it's a really comprehensive challenge for them to learn a lot about.
So why should like young members come back to volunteer for at SAE and these different events?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of, like paying it forward. And I think that I did so many different programs that were really impactful to me. Like the collegiate programs that I did, even, when I was in high school doing different programs as well. And I think it really makes a lasting impact on students. So I think I've always wanted to, be that person for someone for the next generation. So I think a lot of us really like spending time with them. Really, you get to see people get inspired and people, really get interested in something that maybe they weren't even aware of before. So I think it feels really nice to be a part of that and to continue to make that, continue on over the years. So I think it's really nice to kind of go back and do it yourself. So I would advocate for others too.
Are you an SAE member through this?
I am. I'm also I'm the assistant vice chair of STEM AWIM for the Detroit
Nice.
SAE board.
Nice. Why should you think young members should take on and keep the membership over their career?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of resources online as well as in person. There's a lot of really cool dynamic events that you can be a part of. You can meet a lot of people within industry. You can meet a lot of students that are coming up and spend time with them. I think there's a little bit of something for everyone in the suite of events that go on throughout the year, in the resources that are available. So I think it's a really great opportunity for people to learn more, to be a part of something, and to go out to engage with other members of the community.
Excellent. Sounds good. You have anything else?
I think that's it.
Awesome.
We don't want to take up too much of your time here.
Thank you.
Yes. There's a fishing tournament happening here.
It's a beautiful day. I think we're gonna go exploring. So
Excellent. Well, we basically have like an island to ourselves out here at this point. So, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. We are here with Gursaran Mathur. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Currently, I work for Ford Motor Company. My background is climate control system. I design heating and cooling system for automobiles. And before the automotive side, I really worked at Carrier Corporation, worked for residential, commercial heat pump system or air conditioning system. So primarily, my entire life, I've worked for heating and cooling systems.
And how did you get involved with SAE?
Oh, actually, this is about maybe 30 years back. This is when I had presented one paper in SAE. So one of the committee chairman, actually, he came to me, said, well, you presented very good technical papers. Would you like to be a part of the committee? So at that time, I said, yeah, definitely. So I became a member of that committee. Yeah, so it's been 30 years. I've been actually working in the same committee, and actually I joined many other committees too: thermal system management, climate control committee, and engine cooling committee. So it's all really related to heating and cooling committees. Also, along the way, they recognize the work, my work, and the SAE actually, they made me a fellow too.
So it sounds like it came in kind of later in your career, from the sounds of it. Now, we talk a lot on the show with people through like the CDS, the Collegiate Design Series, and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, what advice do you have for those students that about becoming an SAE member after they're done with their schooling?
I think it's a great idea to be a member of SAE. You learn a lot. You actually come across many experts in the industry where you can learn from them. And that's how I actually started in SAE. Even though, I had a PhD, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you know everything. So you really, from the industry point of view, once I came to know all of my colleagues through SAE, I learned a lot about the industry. And that's what I've been doing for past many years, yeah.
I know we talk a lot about volunteering when it comes to those CDS programs, the Baja, the Formula, and things like that. You know, obviously, this is a volunteer basis that you're involved with this, right? You know, so it shows there's multiple ways to be involved if you're not ready to get out in the dirt with us, right?
Yeah, I've been primarily working in the technical area, volunteering, also working on the technical sessions for the SAE Congress and Thermal System Management Congress, chairing sessions and reviewing technical papers and so forth. But also it's really very rewarding because you basically meet the industry experts from not only in the US but around the globe. And then you take part, you know, along with them in developing standards and many other activities. Again, this is all volunteer basis. And it's a great, I guess, from a technical side, it's really very rewarding. Yeah.
It sounds like a great community to be a part of, right?
Oh, it is. It is. It's a great community, and it's perhaps one of the largest technical community, right?
Yeah. As a new person, you know, I'm just finished my first year on the job, and it's trying to figure out and like see the communities that there are through SAE, and there's so many different. Like I'm Collegiate Design Series, and it's a giant community. But just hearing what you're talking about from the technical side, it sounds like it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
The people are willing to help each other. They're going to go above and beyond to make sure that everyone has what they need. So that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah.
Excellent. Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, what's the biggest what's the biggest you've learned from being a part of the membership and the group here with SAE?
I guess the most important thing is, you know, to be a part of that group where you have not only from your country but from around the globe. So you get to meet many people from China, from Japan, from all over, and then you see you know, what exactly they are working on and so forth globally, you know, what the technical activities are, and then you try to come up with a common theme to actually have a common development so that it could be used on a global basis, not just for the US, but on a global basis. And that's what we are doing actually. Many technical standards which we are working on, those will be most likely global standards.
Sounds like you guys are putting the international and SAE International.
That's right. That's good.
Awesome. Oh, thank you so much for taking a couple minutes with us. Don't want to take you too far more from breakfast.
Thanks a lot.
Yep,
thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day. Thanks.
Hey guys, we are here with Curt Pawloski with, is it IO Inc.?
It's integral operations.
Okay.
And so that's a term from Lean. And so I adopted that when I started my company in the, well, actually going back to the 90s. And but I've been a close associate of SAE for a long time.
I was going to say, well, how did you first get involved with SAE?
Well, a quick short story. My first involvement with SAE was probably 50 years ago when I was in 10th grade. In Detroit, SAE sponsored a drafting contest where at one of the main high schools, they would put an object on the desk and you had an hour to draw it. And so that was back in the day when drafting was with paper and pencils and T-squares and triangles. And so I think I took second or third place in that. So that was my very first relationship with SAE. But then later on, I've been doing the GD&T training plus what I call the alphabet soup of quality, AP, QP, SPC, all of those. And but GD&T is one of my main things, and I was working with the man that generated the content and helps develop the standards. And he had a company called Effective Training Incorporated. And about, I want to say 11, 12 years ago, SAE bought his company. And so I came along with it and continued to be a contractor. And so since that time, SAE absorbed totally all of ETI. And so I'm still with SAE and going all over the place.
That's awesome. So, you know, our audience for this podcast is a lot of the students with the Collegiate Design series and everything. You mentioned GD&T. Can you tell us what that is for those that might be listening that might not know?
Well, GD&T is Geometric Design and Tolerancing. And so I'll tell you, for students just starting out, really try to learn that. And maybe you can learn it through a program with SAE. But years ago, drafting, as I talked about, was looking at things in 2 dimensions. We live in a 3-dimensional world, and so geometric dimensioning and tolerancing allows us to design and dimension things as they really are, and how all these parts go together to function as a working mechanical system. And one of the things, though, that I am kind of chagrined about, that our universities don't really teach it. And so it makes for good business for SAE, because these students get out and they need us. They need us to come and teach these concepts. But for students in general, never stop learning. I tell everybody at my advanced age that you can make money, you can buy a lot of things, and that can disappear in an instant. But no one can take away your knowledge. Never stop learning. Build a library for yourself, whether it's virtual or physical, and always learn. And then by learning, one of the other things I highlight with the students, you set yourself apart from your colleagues at work. Always companies said, well, that's the guy that we go to for X, and that's the person we go to for Y. You want to be that person.
You want to demonstrate and be known for your value.
Exactly. And so you get that from brain power, from learning and motivation and initiative. And the other thing that's non-technical but is very important for people starting out in a career is teamwork. I have found companies that would rather hire a group of above average performers than someone that has more degrees than a thermometer if that person can't get along with the rest of the world. And so we have corporations that are filled with people. So your human relation skills as well as your technical skills are very important.
Excellent. Tell me, obviously we're here at Contributor of the Year here in Key Largo. You're being recognized for your efforts and volunteering and everything. What's been the biggest takeaway for you with your involvement with this? And with the students, with the with the work that you've been doing, and is there anything that, as you that kind of surprised you with the work over the years?
Well, let me think. I would say one of the things that surprises me is the widespread use of engineering technologies that were basically for transportation, and now, no matter where I go, no matter what the product is, companies are getting deeply involved in the technologies that people thought, oh, well, that's an automotive industry thing. I'm going in 2 weeks to Ireland to a facility for Stryker. And I like to say Stryker makes people parts, but they do all kinds of things for the medical industry. And so now we're known for mobility. SAE, the A is less enunciated as automotive, where the mobility industry, mobility then going all the way down to walking. So we help people in mobility, cars, trains, planes, buses, boats. And so over the years, I've been involved in all forms of mobility, all the way down to now helping everybody to walk and move. So that's one thing that I was kind of surprised about, is how engineering technology is proliferated into all products, which is great, and standardizing.
Before we let you go, because we're getting to that time.
You got fishing to do
And
here.
That's right.
Fishing tournament coming up.
Any advice or reasons why students should become and stay SAE members?
Well, for all professional organizations, again, to build your human relations skills, network, and learn. So all of the professional organizations, and I belong to several, you get to meet people like we're doing here and learn interesting things that others are doing. And as an independent consultant, I've never gotten a job by advertising. All of my projects have been through networking over 30 years as an independent consultant. So joining organizations like SAE provides that opportunity. And so I'm not saying you're going to get a job today and then leave that job because you belong to an organization, but it will help you throughout all walks of life.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
All right. You're very.
All right.
Thank you very much.
And good luck with the tournament.
Yeah, good luck.
Yes.
Bring it home.
All right.
Anyways, we're learning so much about how international and far-reaching everything is here with SAE. Always learning all the time, over and over again, with everybody. So it's been a really cool experience to see that and have those conversations.
Absolutely.
So until next time, thank you, everybody.
Like and subscribe.
You like and subscribe. See Scott on the CDS Action News.
Yes,
and everybody stay safe out there. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Competition, the SAE University Programs Podcast. Show notes for this episode can be found at beyondthecompetition.fireside.fm. Remember to stay tuned for updates on your competition's newsfeed or app, and follow SAE_University Programs on TikTok and Instagram. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next episode. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Competition, the SAE University Programs Podcast.